Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, we are covering a horror thriller movie which was released in 2007, called P2. Spoiler alert, watch out and take care. On Christmas Eve, a young and beautiful businesswoman named Angela decides to work late in her office. Her co-worker, Jody, offers to help with her work, but Angela tells her to go home. Later, Jim, another colleague, comes to apologize for his previous rude behavior and Angela forgives him. After this, Angela calls her sister, Lorraine, and assures her that she won't be late for their family dinner. After a short time, Angela meets head of security Carl, who say he is locking up the floor. She asks him to wait for her while she locks up her office. They both ride the elevator together. Carl mentions that he'll be working all night, and adds that the building will be closed for 3 days. When they get to the lobby, Angela says goodbye to Carl and takes a different elevator to go to the underground parking garage, P2. She talks to her colleague Lorraine on the phone to let her know she's leaving the office, but their conversation is interrupted because of bad reception. She gets into the parking garage, only to discover that her car won't start. She feels annoyed and comes back to the office but finds the door is locked. With no other choice, she goes to the security office to ask for help. Suddenly, dog starts to bark. Then the security guard named Thomas comes and takes away his dog. Angela asks him to unlock the elevator room door so she can go upstairs and get a taxi. Meanwhile, Thomas offers to fix her car battery, which she reluctantly agrees. They go to fix the car but the car still does not start. So, Angela thanks him and asks him to open the door to elevator room. Then he opens the door for her. Angela goes to the lobby and calls a taxi. She calls her friend Lorraine to tell her about what happened. The taxi finally arrives, but Angela can't get out because the door is locked. She gets annoyed and goes to the parking garage to ask Thomas to open the door, but he's not there. Then she sees the taxi leaving, which makes her even more upset. To make things worse, her phone has no service, and the lights start turning off one by one. Angela uses the light on her phone to walk in the parking garage, but she stumbles and drops her things. She is hurt, but still picks up her phone. Suddenly, Thomas surprises her from behind and covers her mouth with a cloth soaked in chloroform. Angela tries to fight, but eventually passes out. When she wakes up, she is sitting in the security office, wearing different clothes. Thomas, who is dressed as Santa Claus, tells her that she has fallen and gives her some water. Angela feels unwell and tries to stand up, but she falls because her foot is tied to the table. Thomas helps her and she vomits before sitting on her chair. While Thomas cleans up the mess, Angela notices he has made some arrangements for her. Then, Thomas takes off his costume and starts cooking food for Angela. Angela asks about her clothes, but Thomas says they got dirty when she fell. Angela becomes angry and demands to be set free, but Thomas ignores her and opens a bottle of wine. Thomas says he likes her and asks several questions about herself. Then, Thomas makes a toast but Angela says she has somewhere to be. She suggests they get a drink next time but Thomas insists they stay and eat since he already prepared everything. Angela tells Thomas that her family is waiting for her but he ignores her and keeps talking. Thomas starts talking about a book he's reading while Angela says her boyfriend will come looking for her, making Thomas upset. However, Thomas still asks Angela about her boyfriend and if they plan to get married. Eventually, Angela admits she doesn't actually have a boyfriend. Thomas tells the names of Angela's family members which surprises her. He then takes Angela's phone and asks her to call her family, telling them she cannot come home for the night. Sadly, Thomas turns on the speaker and put his hands on Angela's neck, threatening to hurt her if she tells her sister. Angela has no choice but to lie to her family, saying she cannot come home as she is sick and needs some rest. Angela cries while lying to her mother, making Thomas happy. Thomas gives Angela a gift, but when she opens it, she finds a videotape inside which makes her confused. Thomas plays the videotape, and it shows Angela talking to Jim in an elevator. In the video, Jim makes a move on Angela, but she rejects him. Thomas pauses the video, and Jim realizes he had made a mistake. Then, Thomas put on his duty belt and starts unlocking a chain that is on Angela. However, when he is unlocking the chain, she stabs him in the back with a fork before he can finish. Thomas trips Angela, caught her, and handcuffs her hands behind her back. Despite being injured, he takes the fork out of his back and yells at his dog. Thomas then helps Angela to stand up and put her coat on, and takes her to his car, and drives to before. Thomas shows Angela their co-worker Jim tied up to a chair, and gives his flashlight to hit him with as punishment for what he did to her in the elevator. Angela disagrees, saying it was just a mistake and Jim has apologized. But Thomas says he's seen Jim try to touch other women in the building. Angela defends Jim as a good person, which makes Thomas angry. Despite her objections, Thomas plans to beat Jim himself. While Thomas is distracted, Angela tries to escape by opening the car door. But Thomas hits Jim with the flashlight, causing Angela to scream and plead for him to stop. Thomas ignores her words and starts hitting him without any mercy. He punches Jim in the face several times until he starts to bleed. Afterwards, Thomas gets back into the car and tries to leave, but Angela disagrees and says that they can't just abandon Jim there. Thomas gets irritated and accuses Angela of having a sexual relationship with Jim to get a job promotion. However, Angela remains firm and insists that they can't leave Jim behind. To make matters worse, Thomas drives the car towards Jim and crashes him into the wall. But Thomas still isn't satisfied and continues to hit Jim, not realizing that Angela has already unlocked her door. When Thomas hits Jim for the third time, Angela takes off her high heels and gets out of the car, quickly running away. As Thomas gets rid of Jim's body, Angela manages to make it back to B2. Angela crouches down and pulls her handcuffed hands in front of her body. This makes it easier for her to walk and return to the security office to collect her things. She climbs onto a table and reaches for her bag, but a dog chomps onto it and won't release it. The bag tears, but Angela manages to grab her phone, which unfortunately has no signal. She decides to take Thomas' key cards and flee. Angela hurries towards an exit at P1, but it's locked. All she can do is yelling for someone to come to her aid. A homeless woman doesn't pay attention to Angela when she speaks to her. So, Angela reaches her arm out through the gate to find a signal to call 911. But, she drops her phone and breaks her nail while trying to get it. Despite this, Angela tells the operator her address and situation before leaving her phone and hiding from Thomas. Then she goes to the elevator room and opens the door with a key card. Angela gets into the elevator and tries to press the button for the lobby, but it doesn't work. So, she quickly presses the P2 button to escape from Thomas, who is trying to catch her. Simultaneously, Angela activates the emergency switch to halt the elevator midway between floors. Subsequently, she employs the intercom system and successfully reaches the security team consisting of 5 brothers. Speaking with a man of Asian descent, Angela reports that she's being held against her will within the office building and that her life is in danger. She further implores the man to summon 911, but he dismisses her claims, insisting that the person attempting to harm her is, in fact, trying to assist her. Recognizing the man as Thomas, Angela becomes incensed and informs him that she has already contacted the authorities and will remain in the elevator until their arrival. Despite her objections, Thomas persists in beseeching her to exit the elevator and give him a chance, convinced that she will eventually develop affection for him. Angela naturally has no desire to communicate with Thomas any longer, causing the guard to become infuriated and terminate the conversation. Subsequently, Thomas drops a fire hose from the upper level onto the elevator, with the intention of flushing Angela out. This causes the elevator to fill with water, and something abruptly crashes through the ceiling. Regrettably, Angela realizes that it's Carl, compelling her to activate the emergency switch and restart the elevator. The elevator halts on P3, causing the water to spill out and flinging both Angela and Carl out. Angela then checks on Carl but decides to depart when he remains motionless. Meanwhile, Thomas continues to search for Angela, eventually tracing her footsteps and following them. Unaware that Angela is concealing herself underneath a pickup truck, Thomas starts slicing the vehicle's tires. Angela quickly moves and escapes to another area of the parking garage. Shortly after, Angela takes refuge in a dark corner while Thomas plays Christmas music. Although he spots Angela on one of the monitors, he does not pursue her. Angela gets very angry when she hears a song. She takes a big axe and breaks the security cameras. Then she goes to the security office, but Thomas, who is singing and dancing, doesn't notice her. Angela finds a video of Thomas touching her and saying he loves her. She gets even angrier and breaks the TV with the axe. She sees that 2 cops are coming, so she tries to talk to them using the speakers, but they don't work. Suddenly, Thomas appears and uses a taser on Angela, making her pass out. The cops are waiting outside and Thomas quickly cleans up the security office. After using a stun gun on Angela again, he cleans himself up. After a short time, the police come to the location, because Angela had called about a problem there. Thomas let them in and they ask him to get in the back of their car so they can give him a ride. Unfortunately, the police does not see Angela's phone on the ground. They take Thomas to a security office and search the whole parking garage, but they don't know that Angela is in the trunk of her car. When the police reach to the 4th floor P4, but they didn't see the bloodstains that Thomas has covered up. Thomas turns up the music to muffle the sounds of Angela screaming. When the police come back to the security office, Thomas tells them that he didn't see anything unusual that night. The police believe him and left. Meanwhile, Angela discovers some tools in the car trunk and uses a tire iron to escape. She tries to catch up to the police, but they are already gone. To make things worse, Thomas finds Angela, and set his dog after her. Angela runs as fast as she can and finds a car to hide in by breaking its window. The dog follows her and bit her. Despite the pain, Angela uses the tire iron to down the dog, and then she quickly leaves from the car. Angela uses a tire iron to break into a car rental office, but when she tries to call 911, nobody answered. She does not give up and waits for someone to answer the phone. In the meantime, she takes some car keys and uses an envelope opener to free herself from handcuffs. Suddenly, Thomas comes and gets angry because he finds his dog in one of the rental cars. He also notices a bloody handprint on the office door. Thomas goes inside the office to look for Angela, but she has already called 911 and leaves. However, Thomas keeps searching for Angela, and he looks inside a locker, thinking she is hiding there. Angela surprises him by attacking him with a spray and knocking him down. Without a moment to waste, Angela flees and frantically searches for a car to drive using the keys she had obtained from the rental office. However, Thomas struggles to pursue her quickly since she had secured the door with a sturdy metal lock. Undeterred, Thomas shatters the glass to gain entry. Thankfully, Angela had already driven away, but as she approaches the exit, Thomas overtakes her and collides with her car using another vehicle. Determined not to get caught again, Angela swiftly accelerates and seeks an alternative route to escape. Nevertheless, Thomas relentlessly follows her, and soon they engage in a perilous game of chicken, driving head-on towards each other at a high speed. Just when it seems like a collision is inevitable, Thomas unexpectedly swerves, allowing Angela to veer off towards P2. As Angela speeds away, she unexpectedly hits a speed bump, causing her car to flip over. Seeing that, Thomas rushes to her aid, only to discover her seemingly unconscious. However, Angela is merely playing possum and uses an envelope opener to stab Thomas in the eye, followed by strangling him until he passes out. Regaining her freedom by using Thomas' keys to remove her handcuffs, Angela cuffs the guard to her car and picks up the taser that Thomas dropped. It's then that she notices gasoline leaking from the vehicle. Meanwhile, Thomas attempts to justify his actions and plead with Angela to be friends before making an offensive remark. Enraged, Angela decides to ignite the gas with the taser, leaving Thomas to burn as the car explodes in flames. As the sprinklers activate, Angela is injured but manages to use Thomas' keys to unlock the gate at P1 and escape into the snowy streets of New York. The paramedics, fire department, and police quickly arrive on the scene. In this way, movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe my channel for more updates.